What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel as you tune in and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on these statements that Mark Cuban made about tanking, right? And like his statements about tanking just give you some insight as to like how owners really see the game. You know, they see the game different from fans and the actual players. You know, players on the court, growing up playing basketball or whatever sport you play, you know, guys are, they're very passionate about winning. Everybody want to win. That's how you get to be as as great as you are because of your competitive, your competitive spirit, your competitive nature. Fans, fans they come to expect certain things out of great players. We want to see players with that passion and that competitiveness and that push and that drive. That's entertaining to people who are not fortunate enough or who can't be out there on the court or in on the field performing, like these athletes, right? But for owners, it's not like that. They don't see it like that. They don't have any, and it just seems like they don't have any respect for your craft or how much work you put into it, unless you can make some money for them, and that's what it's all about. So if they need you to tank or if they need to lose a game, no matter how you feel about it as a player, no matter how you feel about it as a fan, owners don't care, because they are about the bottom line. And this is not a new way of thinking for owners, right? It's always been like this. When you go back to Donald Sterling, like the guy who used to own the Clippers, they had to put a rule in place where they had a floor, like because he would pay the least amount of money to his basketball players that he could play below league minimum. He would pay that just so he could make a profit. He didn't care about winning. He didn't care about like having a level of competition out there on the court. He didn't care about that. He just wanted to make money. All he cared about was the bottom line. He wanted a superstar on his team. That's why the Clippers always, a lot of years the Clippers was in that lottery so they can get, a top draft pick. And then that draft pick he used that as a draw to get the fans in. But for the most part, there are a lot of teams out there that really don't even, it's obvious that they don't care about winning. Right. You had the Sixers a few years ago talking about trust the process or something like that. They kept on tanking so they could get talent around Joel Embiid, and that really didn't pan out. The fans they didn't call him out for that. They just went along with the program. But this is how it's been. But it's just that Mark Cuban is just saying the quiet part out loud. But because it's always been like this. So let me play the audio from Jason Whitlock's show, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna react to it.
It to me is like the new Michael Dukakis, and we've got this tank slide that the NBA is experiencing. No one, people are out of the closet. There's a problem in the NBA. Adam Silver needs to fix it. This tanking, this lack of competition, but there's a tank slide, and they've sent Mark Cuban out because Mark Cuban wants to re-own the Dallas Mavericks. He's looking for his way back in. He's done his penance. He's paid his penalty. They ran him out of Dallas with the allegations of not sexual harassment is not the right word, but a improper workplace filled with sexual harassment. They ran him out and they forced some black woman in as president, and then they made him sell the team. I think Miriam Adelson owns the team. Mark Cuban wants the team back, and I think he's getting it back, but he's having to go through a little humiliation ritual process. He's having to do certain things for the NBA. Like Adam Silver's like, hey, man, I'm getting beat up over this tanking deal. Mark, go out and explain to the public why tanking isn't a big deal and it's not wrong. So here's Mark Cuban's statement. This isn't the full statement, but this is the stuff that really caught my attention. The NBA has been misguided thinking that fans want to see their teams compete every night with a chance to win. Holy cow, what an opening sentence. Just think this. This is an NBA owner, one of the most influential NBA owners of the last 30, 40 years, one of the highest profile NBA owners of the last 30, 40 years. I'm trying. Jerry Buss was high profile when he owned the Lakers. Pat Riley doesn't own anything. And so not Pat Riley. I'm trying to think other than Jerry Buss, what NBA owner has a bigger brand than Mark Cuban? Maybe in the help me out here, Hadley. Help me out. Justin, anybody? Peyton's already said Pat Riley, and Pat Riley is a coach and executive. So Steve Ballmer is a high profile. There, Peyton's recovering. Steve Ballmer is high profile, but not as high profile as Mark Cuban. But anyway, just think that through. The highest profile NBA owner, other than Jerry Buss, who's now deceased. I just thought of why can't I think of the guy who's famous for all the wrong reasons? Donald Sterling. Donald Sterling would have been high profile. But anyway, comes out and says the NBA has been misguided, thinking that fans want to see their teams compete every night with a chance to win. That's an amazing statement by an NBA owner. All right, let's continue.
Well, see, like I said, man, they have always thought like this. Like they will tank a full season or however long if they think they're going to get a better a better draft pick, right? Or put them in a position where they think it'll benefit them in the long run. Like I said, if a basketball player is trying to win the battle and the owners see themselves as generals and they're thinking more so about the war than they are the battle. So that's what that's all about. So, like I said, this right here just demonstrates the mindset of these owners. Whereas though, like I said, they don't pay any. They don't see this the same way players and the fans might see it, and they really think this. But and what I think part of the downfall to the owners saying this quiet part out loud is players will take on this mindset, right? This will be a trickle down effect because the players will see that, okay, if it's cool for the owners to tank and not give 100% effort and don't care about everything, then we as players might, some players might take on that. And so what'll happen is the overall product will suffer, in my opinion.
It's never been that way. When I got into the NBA, they thought they were in the basketball business. They aren't. They are in the business of creating experiences for fans. Few can remember the score from the last game they saw or went to. They can't remember the dunks or shots. What they remember is who they were with, their family, friends, a date. That's what makes the experience special.
That's nonsense. That's nonsense. Like fans remember like a spectacular play. They remember like a home run hit in a clutch baseball game in the ninth inning. They remember a steal. Michael Jordan stealing the ball from Karl Malone. A rebound that Dennis Rodman got at a particular time when the Bulls needed a rebound. Michael Jordan hitting that final. Like when I don't remember who was with me when I saw Michael Jordan steal the ball from Karl Malone. I don't remember who was with me when I seen Dennis Rodman dive out of bounds for a rebound. I don't remember. So you remember the spectacular and the clutch plays that these athletes make, but again, that just shows that these owners, to me, they don't really care about winning. Now if winning is something that will bring them more money and but if they don't have a team that can win, then they're going to do other things to draw the crowds to their team.
When I tell you all that these sports have no respect for you, no respect for fans. This is what I'm talking about. They Mark Cuban is a billionaire, lives in an elitist world, lives in a world where people make trips to Epstein Island, lives in a world where, you know, they're just removed from reality. And this man thinks that the average fan doesn't care about the game, doesn't care about competition. They're there for a social experience. They hate hardcore sports fans.
I don't know. Now Jason Whitlock said that they are removed from reality. I just think they are two separate realities, right? Because in our world, in the world of the athlete and the fan, you still gonna have, you still gonna have athletes who play hard, who dedicate themselves, right? And that's what they want because that's what pay off for them. Also, in their world, they're worried about the bottom line, like making money. So, and every team can't win every year. So, if you're the Clippers from back in the day, you got to find ways to make money and bring fans in, even if your team is not a success, like the Wizards. Some of the teams that are constantly at the bottom of the league, they got to find ways to bring, draw fans in, because the Wizards not going to win a championship, no time soon. The Sacramento Kings not going to win, no time soon. So that is reality for a lot of these owners, though. They're not really concerned. They want to tank so they can get that number one draft pick. And once they get that number one draft pick, then they can sell hope to their fans. And, but as a player, if you tank, you'll find your way out the league. Just, and with this gambling stuff that's going on, right? Just imagine being a player and you don't care about the game, winning or losing, and you start shaving points and stuff like that. They'll lock you up. They'll ban you out of basketball, and if and you could possibly go to prison. So, he just said the quiet part out loud. You've always had owners who felt like this. They don't really respect the fans. And sometimes, like the fans, they'll get a good they'll run across a good product. There's only a couple teams every year, a few teams every year that are in contention to win. So those are the teams that'll be, it's all orchestrated though, and they trying to make as much money as they can. I don't know why Mark Cuban would come out and say this kind of stuff out loud, but it's not new. It's definitely not new. And I agree with Jason Whitlock that they don't really have respect for the fans. They just trying to get you in there and sell you popcorn for $12 and something to drink for $12, and then just send you home. So it's all about trying to make as much money as they can off of you. And I even heard Mark Cuban said, like he said that he will charge the maximum of what the market will allow for tickets, for popcorn, for anything. Like if he can get away with selling popcorn for $12 or $25, then that's what he'll do, because it's about the bottom line for them. So it is what it is, man. And that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna check y'all out in the next video. Peace.